Welcome to the Game Week 34 video. Now this week kicks off with a big match at the bottom of the table, Norwich vs Sunderland, and it's fair to say Norwich, Sunderland and Newcastle, these are the three teams who are now pretty much in a relegation fight. Villa, they're pretty much, they've cancelled their award ceremony for this season, and that's no surprise because there's been no achievements at Villa. No one has achieved anything there, so pretty disastrous season for them. But I hope they actually bounce back. But we still have, two other positions left in terms of who will get relegated. And when you consider the fact there's so much more money coming in from television rights, etc., it's really pivotal. It's pivotal that teams stay up and benefit from that. Now, Norwich, disappointing result away to Palace, but they've shown in the last, I think, few weeks that they're able to scrap out the result. I think the Newcastle win was a big result for them, and I think now is the time. This is the game maybe of the season for them, because I think they beat Sunderland today. They really do put themselves in a good position in terms of surviving. However, Sunderland have not won for a very long time. In fact, the last one was against Man United. So, if Sunderland win today, then I think this puts the relegation battle wide open again. And if Newcastle win the game as well, then it just makes you wonder. Sunderland, I don't think they did enough against Leicester, and they had a great chance with Rodwell to make it 1-1, and it's those key moments that I think define a season. I mean, you could go 1-1 and maybe salvage a point against a very good Leicester team, or you lose and they lost 3 points at home, and they've dropped a considerable number of points at home now. Ever since they've beat Man United, their performances haven't been so bad, but they haven't shown enough. They haven't been clinical enough up front, and whether that's because of the strikers, and it's a combination of that, but I also think it's part of it has to go down to the manager. I think he's rotated strikers way too often. He's sometimes been plays, sometimes he doesn't. Then you have Ndoye, if you remember him, he's there, he's sometimes playing, sometimes not. Defoe seems to be the constant striker, which is a player that I would recommend, but even then, you just wonder how someone will approach this game. But from both teams, there are players that that I recommended from before. Although this week, I honestly would recommend that you really focus on the players that have got double game weeks, or should I say, double games in this game week. So, in terms of my prediction for this game, I think it's going to be really tight. But I think, rather than me predicting this result, I'm going to go and say this. I think whoever loses this game, well, I'll say this. If Sunderland loses this game, then I think they won't survive. I think it'll be too much of a blow for them. But a draw leaves things open, and a win for Norwich will help them for really propel themselves high up in the table. So that's my opinion on this game. In terms of 3 o'clock kickoffs, we've got Everton and Southampton. Everton, 2 fixtures and 2 draws. Robles at 4.3 is definitely worth a shout. Although I don't know how good Everton fixtures really are this week, this game week. I mean, home at Southampton could be tricky because Southampton have shown some good form, especially some good scoring prowess, but Everton do have a away trip to Liverpool, and Liverpool have not been shy of scoring goals, so it's a tough one. Lukaku has been ruled out of the game by Martinez along with Barclays, so I was one of those guys that got Lukaku in because of his double fixtures, and I actually removed Vardy. Now, obviously, if you do the maths, you would see that it was a better investment to probably keep Vardy. But these are the type of risks you have to take. That's not a bad thing. But Everton, I think this season it's going to be in the FA Cup and only in the FA Cup. I think they are going through this Premier League, strolling through. they're going to end up at a disappointing bottom 10 position. Like they're going to, I don't think they'll finish on the top half, and it's kind of weird because Everton do have scope, which they just haven't done it consistently enough, and they've neither made good as a fortress. So because of those reasons, Everton do have this bit of a unknown. Something it's rather unknown how they're going to perform this game week. Southampton, on the other hand, great performance, home to Newcastle, professional, did the job. Pella for me has come back and really looked like a player. You just wonder, had Southampton had him for midway through the season, could it be high up the table? Because there was a point where Southampton were struggling, believe it or not. You just have to look some few months back, and people were thinking about Southampton maybe getting relegated. So it shows how things quickly change, and I think he's been showing the form that he had at the start of the season. I think the only reason why people have not gone from the last few weeks is because of the double game weeks, but he's definitely worth looking at. Next week there are 7 fixtures rather than the 10, and Southampton do play, so he's not the worst investment in the world. Where do I see this game going? To be honest, either way, I think Southampton will want it more, so I'll probably give it to Southampton, really enough. Main night at Villa, obviously great result for them in the FA Cup, going through the semi-finals. Marcus Rashford and Fellaini with the goals, and overall good performance. I think they deserve to win the game. And in terms of player recommendations, Rooney did come off the bench and to play for a minute, but I don't know if he will start this game. If I'm honest, I don't think he will start against Villa, although he might appear as a substitute, but there's a great probability he could start the game against Palace. So for me, with Man United at the moment, there's quite a few players you could look at. I mean, strike, you've got Martial, you've got Rashford, you've got potentially Rooney, but I think I'll avoid him for this game week, to be honest. You've got Lingard in midfield for his value, and considering he's a key part of what Lou Van Gaal does, you've got to put him in he's a very good buy for that value. And then you've got the defenders now. Forsy Mensah, I think is at 3.9. He might be a bit of a steal because 2 games, Man United at home. Van Gaal does have a decent defensive record against 2 teams who haven't been scoring that many goals recently. So you just wonder, maybe a Man United defender isn't so bad after all. So Forsy Mensah at 3.9 might be worth a gamble and a risk. I think he probably is worth the risk. So that's one to look at. Villa, I think Jordan Away has shown some decent sparks throughout this season, but not enough. And I think that's all there is to say to Villa. So I really think Man United will win this game. Newcastle and Swansea, big game for Newcastle. Yeah, I mean, look, they have to win this game. Send off. They don't win this game, I don't really see them surviving, unfortunately. Swansea probably had done enough this season now to be safe. Now they're 40 points. I think they've really gone up the table if you look at it now. And credit to the manager, and you got to give credit to the Swansea players because obviously things changed for them quickly with the manager leaving, Gary Monk, and they've done the job, and a good result against Chelsea, 1-0. Sigurdsson, obviously the player that I've always been highlighting, and the defence done pretty well as well, so credit to them. Newcastle, Mitrovic for me still with the penalty kick and him being such a aerial threat to look at. You've got players around him like Townsend and Wijnaldum for sure. Wijnaldum hasn't really popped up with a goal recently, but it only takes him one game to score a hat-trick to say. So yeah, I think Newcastle might just edge this game, but you just never know because Swansea, I think Swansea will probably approach this game thinking they survived, and although they have, they might just let off the steam. So I think Newcastle probably want it more, and I can see this going to Newcastle's favour. And the last 3 o'clock game is West Brom Watford. West Brom, surprising to see them actually give a bit of a fight to Man City, and probably should have got something out of it. Debates about an offside goal and a few other stuff, but and a foul, whatever. But Sessegnon with the goal, and him, Rondon, Bellerin, those 3 guys for me offensively on the ball for West Brom. And defensively, you've got Olsen, who I think is the cheapest one you can really get from West Brom. Watford, on the other hand, 1-1 draw. You know, I don't know how much they really care about the season anymore with the FA Cup, semi-final looming. But they've got a double game week. But I actually wouldn't go for Watford players. So that's all I will say. Where else is result going? I think West Brom have not been performing recently, and I think they want to turn it around. So I'm gonna go for a West Brom win. And then the 5:30 game is Chelsea Man City. Now, this game doesn't have much relevance except for the fact that if Man City drop points here, it does open up the top four race, because if Man United win, they get closer, and it just puts pressure on Man City. Chelsea, on the other hand, lost away to Swansea. I think that was Hiddings' first defeat in the league. So, and I think playing Pato and then playing Falcao, and then it really shows you that without Costa, without an on-form fit Hazard, things get tough for Chelsea, and if it's caught up. So that's that. I think it's going to be a fun game. If you guys remember the FA Cup game, Chelsea absolutely thrashed Man City, but that was a second-team Man City pretty much. And, Man City seem to be, they'll be very much encouraged and probably boosted from the result in the Champions League. First time in the semi-finals. It's been a long time since really people have felt like there's maybe an English team that could actually win the Champions League. Chelsea, for me, never really looked like the team that were going to win the Champions League, if I'm honest, when they did versus Atletico on the Mourinho. But Man City against Real Madrid, you just never know. I think Man City can do it. So that's what I'll say in regards to them. De Bruyne's coming, and Man City do have a double game week, so you got to look at him. Got to look at Aguero, 100%. And it's a big game for Man City. I think they realise that the top four is in question, and for those reasons, I'm going to say that Man City will probably nick this game. I think it's such a big game for them, and people always talk about having a lot of game weeks or having a lot of fixtures within a week. But when you're doing well and you're winning results, and I don't think that really becomes an issue. Now, in terms of the Sunday game, Bournemouth and Liverpool, finally a win for Bournemouth, but like I said, away to Villa is probably the best place you can go to get the win. So they won. Cook obviously has been a big part of getting set piece goals recently, and Joshua King, of course, for his value and his positioning. Like I said, good player to get also from Bournemouth. Liverpool, on the other hand, now they have a double game week, and I think it's worth considering because Liverpool also play the game week after, which is important because not many teams play the game week after, so you should be looking at Liverpool players. Firmino's back, Coutinho's back. There is this debate about should you Origi or should you Sturridge, and that's a tough one because Klopp has shown that he's willing to go with either one of them, depending on the game. Against Borussia Dortmund, he went with Origi and justified. He scored, and in the last week, the 4-1 result to Stoke, Sturridge started and he scored, but Origi came on, scored 2 goals and got 3 bonus. So you just wonder who's going to go with. It's a tricky one. I think he'll probably stick with Sturridge in the Premier League games, and I won't be surprised actually Origi starts against Everton. But it's a tough one. He might even start both against Everton. It's really weird, but safer bet probably is a midfielder, and you've got players in defence as well with Moreno now seems to be back in the fold as well. So I think it's a weird one because you just don't know how Liverpool are going to respond from that great game against Dortmund, and it's a question of do Liverpool actually think they're gonna? I think they're gonna put all their focus on the Europa League. It's the best path for them to the Champions League, but they want to keep the confidence high and perform. And this could be a draw, but it could go win the other side. But I can see this being a draw as well. Leicester, West Ham, great result for Leicester. 2-0 away to Sunderland. League is getting even closer for them now, and surely, I mean, they're there. I think they're very much there. I think this is the type of game that you just wonder if West Ham have to beat them. I think even the draw is not the worst result for Leicester, if I'm honest. But I think Tottenham are close, 7 points. Next to them, or closest to them, is Arsenal, 13, but Arsenal do have a game in hand. But even if you think about it, 10 is a lot of points to make up. So really, Tottenham are the next challenges, and there is a gap. And Leicester's defence has been really remarkable. I think it's a key point. At the start of the season, They weren't able to keep clean sheets. Now they keep clean sheets in order to win games, and that's the difference. So obviously defenders have got to look at them because they've been so consistent. And West Ham, on the other hand, great game with Arsenal, 3-3 draw, but I think there was a bit of an error in terms of how to set up early in the game, but they rectified that at half time. And obviously the key players that we've always spoken about. I don't know if Carroll will start. That's a weird thing about West Ham. He doesn't, but I do think he will start. I think he's got a hat trick, got to play your main striker up front. So despite even losing the FA Cup, I can see them starting with Andy Carroll. But really, Payet is the player you have to look at. He's got a double game week as well, West Ham. Got to look at Payet for me. So I don't know what to say about this game. Even though I'm an Arsenal fan, I actually think that Leicester will win this league. I just don't see how they can drop so much off. I think, but you just wonder, West Ham, out of the FA Cup, they have got a smaller chance of winning the Champions League. This is an important game for them, surely. I mean, they won't be too disappointed from the Arsenal draw, considering the situation of them being 2-0 down, even though they were 3-2 up, but they have to admit that really Arsenal dominate the game to the end. So you just wonder. It's going to be an intriguing game. I'm not going to call this one, but it's too difficult to call. But I can actually see West Ham winning this game. I can see Payet being a big part of what they do. But I can also see Leicester winning this game comfortably. Defence, performing as they have been, they can just nick a goal, and that's pretty much it. So that's what I will say in regards to that. And the last Sunday game is Arsenal Palace. Palace, important last week for them. I mean, look, 4 points out of 6, 2 clean sheets. And Palace are now, I wouldn't say they're in a relegation fight anymore. They have a double game week as well, but they have a very difficult double game week with Arsenal, Man United. I got Balassi and put in captain, and that wasn't the best decision, if I'm honest. Looking at my team, and especially the players I removed as well, but it was a risk worth taking, in my opinion. At the moment, Balassi doesn't look like he's no longer the striker. Guerrero's been playing that position, and although he's not been scoring much, he might stick with that same idea. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Although away to some big teams, maybe he just fancies playing Balassi in strike. So I still think Balassi is worth looking at. Jason Punchin has been showing some decent form as well. But whether that's momentary, who knows. And Hennessy, a keeper who was considering actually captaining as well. 2 clean sheets, benefits in the BPS system, so he's also another one. But for this game week, I wouldn't actually advise him. I think it's tough fixtures now for Palace. Arsenal, I mean, look, Awobi, Ozil, Sanchez, Welbeck, Gabriel, Bellerin, those are the players straight off. Get 3 of those. That's discussion in there. Get 3 of those, because Arsenal do have some good fixtures coming up. 2 home games this game week. You have to consider Arsenal. And now Stoke and Spurs. So Monday game, and obviously there's been a whole debate in regards to the referee being changed and whatever. Stoke, I think they'll be disappointed because they came back in the Liverpool game, but after that they didn't really show any signs, and with Arnautovic injury, it looks like he might not be back yet, but I don't know. I think they probably have enough to just beat Spurs because of the home ground, but if Spurs do win here, and if Leicester drop points, then I think we can safely say the title is back on, because Leicester do have some tough games. They got to go away to Man United. There's a few tough games coming up, but Spurs have to win this game. So Spurs, credit to them. Did the job against Man United. Were patient, waited for the right moment. The chance came and they took it. And great execution. The first goal by Eriksen. Good pass out by Harry Kane as well. And the last 2 goals, Lamela. He's a very on-off player, but I think this season he's shown more good than bad. So, man, instead of predicting this particular game, all I would say is you really have to say Spurs have to win this game. Even if Leicester drop points, they have to put pressure on them the key with this pressure, and if Spurs don't capitalise on Leicester dropping points, then I'm afraid that it just doesn't make any difference. And even if Leicester were to lose and Spurs were to draw, frankly, 6 points is not going to be enough to really make Leicester sweat a lot. Now, in terms of the double game weeks, so the double games, we've got Newcastle, Man City, and similarly again. I mean, rather than me going through each game and getting my predictions, because a lot of these games, I mean, Newcastle, Man City is going to be a great game because Newcastle in relegation fight, Man City in the top 4 race. West Ham Watford, I think, is a bit more easy to call on. I think West Ham will probably win this game. Liverpool, Everton is a derby game, so both teams will be up for it and will be fired up. Man United Palace, I think that more space towards Man United, and Arsenal West Brom, again, that space towards Arsenal. But again, these are the teams. Like, for instance, when I look at this game, I think De Bruyne, Aguero, Payet, maybe Coutinho, maybe Sturridge. You've got Martial, and then you have Ozil, Sanchez. These are the players that are worth captaining this game week, in my honest opinion. And these are the players you probably should have in your team, roughly. Double game week. If you've got the triple captain, do it, because I know I am going to do it this game week as well. And definitely worth looking at. So that's my analysis of this game week. And there's no real game week like this after this. It's always good to just check. So we'll do that. So like I mentioned, there's less games next game week. And then, we do have it again. But obviously it's not the same number of teams as before. So that is worth looking at. But again, we do have that again on the game week 37 because of FA Cup games being grouped together and clashes. But on that particular game week, we can clearly see Man United have a double game week. West Ham as well do. And we obviously have some big other teams as well involved in there as well. So, but until then, there is still some game weeks remaining for that. I think this is the biggest game week in terms of really getting the most number of points realistically. So that's my analysis of this game week, and good luck for the game week ahead.